Firstly, if you could both just introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Sam Amin. My background is pediatric neurology and I run the TS clinic in Bath.
Hi, I'm Chris Kingswood. I'm a kidney specialist. I work in Brighton and St George's, and I'm a TS specialist as well.
Super. Sam, do you want to tell me about your work in Bath?
So we've recently started using sirolimus ointment for facial angiofibromas. As you know, more than 80% of individuals with TSC have facial angiofibromas, and these benign tumours can cause bleeding and irritation and facial scarring. So treating them is very important. So we've started using sirolimus ointment to treat these facial rash, and we found that this ointment has been very effective and safe. We also want to look at the effect of this ointment on people's psychology, and we've realized that this ointment has significant impact on individual psychology. So we think it's an important treatment for individuals with TSC.
And when you say it has an impact on people's psychology, are you talking about the way that people feel about themselves, because it's a very visual kind of marking of TSC?
Yeah, it's unfortunately a lot of us health professionals, we tend to underestimate the impact of facial angiofibromas on people's psychology. But when we did our study, we completed quality of life questionnaires, and we could see that the impact of the treatment was significant. Because, for example, a lot of young children, when they go to school and have facial angiofibromas, they get teased and sometimes bullied by their friends because of the facial rash, and I can imagine that can have a significant impact on their psychology.
And so what's the next step for this? Because we know the TS community are going to be out there saying, well, where do I get this cream? Where do I get the ointment?
So one of the problems is that it's not a licensed treatment. It's something that physicians around the world have used in individual patients. But because it's not licensed, it's not funded. There are some exceptions, and in the Bath clinic, Sam and his colleagues have access to funds for treating their own patients. But across the UK it's very patchy, and indeed across Europe. So, building on the work in Bath, what we want to do is mount a national trial in order to look at a couple of aspects. One is to gain a licence from the European Medicines Agency. Second is to tie up with a company that will make the creams that will be widely available once a licence and funding have been agreed. But also in terms of the scientific aims, we want to look more carefully into the optimal dose, and also into the quality of life measures and how it affects people beyond the physical improvements. We know that the topical sirolimus works very well from individual case studies and case series, and one trial that's gone on in the United States and America, but it's still very preliminary. We don't know what the maximum or minimally effective dose is. We know that different individuals will need different doses, cream strengths. So that's the next step.
And what timeframes are we looking at for these next steps, Chris?
So we are in the process now, putting the protocol together and applying for funding and getting other approvals such as ethics approval. So we are hoping to get things together in the next 12 months.
6 to 12 months to get all that set up and get through the bureaucracy and ethics committee approval, as well as a grant. The critical thing is getting a grant. in fact. We have some very nice systems for managing the trial and making sure it all works well and complying with all the governance structures. So, and we suspect there'll be no shortage of volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, is there a way for the community to sign themselves up or to put themselves down as interested for any of these trials?
Obviously, once we've started recruiting people for the trial, we will make sure that all the TS clinics in the country are aware of the trial, and we start talking to people and doing presentation and making sure that they are all aware and recruit individuals for the trial. And I said, as you said, and I'm sure we won't have problem with recruiting, because we know it's a safe drug and it's very popular, and I think a lot of people will be interested in using it.
And indeed, if anyone's listened to this video, if they want to send their name to TSA, perhaps at Alison Cooper, we can put them on a list to contact them later when things actually get going.